Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I'm Goldie Gamari, and you are here for another live stream of the Goldie Gamari Show. So today we have a very interesting topic, and I just want to welcome everyone, especially those on YouTube. Great to see you in the chat. So a lot of people have been asking me about what Iranians think of the United States. And more specifically, how Iranians reacted to the news of President Trump bombing some nuclear facilities in occupied Iran. And the answer isn't necessarily what you would think, but when you understand the context of Iran and where it is today, then it makes a lot of sense. So what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to go a little bit back, because in order to properly understand Iranians and their reactions to things, you need to understand what exactly it is that Iranians are going through. And so that's some of the nuances that a lot of the so-called Middle East experts or even the journalists or reporters, they don't really know about it, or they don't really talk about it, or they gloss over it. And then that is what creates a lot of confusion, which then leads to people thinking, or it leads to Americans thinking that Iranians hate them, when that is the farthest thing from the truth. If you look at the picture here below, that is not AI. That is a real photo from the 1970s during the presidential visit of Richard Nixon to Iran. Thank you, Unusual AI, for the super sticker. Appreciate that. We're just getting started. It's going to be a great episode today. So there you go. In the 1970s, the United States and Iran were very strong allies, okay? And you can see here the Shah of Iran at the time with President Nixon. And here you can see the American flag. And of course, here is the Iranian flag. Now, what you notice about this Iranian flag is that it's the lion and sun, right? It's this flag that you see behind me. The flag behind me is the real flag of Iran. The one that's currently in use is the flag of the Islamic occupiers. So here again, you see the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, with President Nixon. Again, here is, you can see, so this is Tehran. You can see giant flags of Iran and the United States. And look at all these Iranian schoolgirls who are waving the flag of America as President Nixon drives by in Tehran. And of course, here you can see, again, this is President Nixon, okay, with the Shah of Iran. And in the background are the Iranian people, and they're waving and cheering and clapping because they want to get a glimpse of the American president as he's going by. Okay, so that's our baseline, guys. Our baseline is prior to the 1979 Islamic occupation of Iran. Okay, Iran and the United States were very close allies, both diplomatically, militarily as well. Militarily, they were huge allies. The United States provided a lot of military-grade weapons and fighter jets to Iran because of the very close relationship that Iran had with the United States. So that's sort of the starting point. So having said that, guys, now I want to explain something to you. So the baseline is Iran and the United States are allies. So then what happens in 1979? In 1979, the Islamic Republic takes over. Okay. I actually did a live stream about this last night. I'll talk about that a little bit more. But in 1979, the Islamic Republic takes over and they occupy our country. Okay. So you can see on the left of the screen here, that's Iran, the lion and sun flag. And then on the right, you see the Allahu Akbar flag of the terrorist Islamic Republic. As soon as the Islamic Republic occupied Iran, they changed our flag. They changed everything about Iran, and they made it all Islamic. And then one of their first policies, one of the first policies of the Islamic Republic was death to America. And then, of course, the American hostage crisis, right? All of those Americans who had been in Iran, because again, Iran and the United States were allies. Now, all of a sudden, all those Americans who couldn't escape were taken hostage by the Islamic jihadis, okay? The people who had just overtaken the country took the Americans hostage. So it was only when the Islamic regime occupied Iran that this enmity towards the United States began. But that enmity never came from the Iranian people. It came from the jihadis, right? It came from the anti-imperialists. And there's a long history here that I've explained in my previous live streams. But that's sort of the short, summary of that. So having said that, it is now important to realize that as of 1979, there are two groups within the boundary of Iran, let's say. You have Iran and the Iranian people who are being held hostage. And then you have the Islamic Republic, which is holding the Iranian people hostage. And in fact, the Islamic Republic created something called the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is tasked with not just murdering Iranians, but spreading terrorism and jihad around the world. Again, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps did not exist prior to 1979. They even changed the name of the country. Prior to 1979, the name of the country was Iran. After 1979, the name of the country became the Islamic Republic of Iran. Okay, that's very important because there's Iran and then there's the Islamic Republic, two completely different things. Again, Iran is being held hostage by the Islamic Republic. But unfortunately, and so now this is where the confusion comes in. Unfortunately, a lot of people in the media, a lot of politicians, a lot of pundits, a lot of analysts, when they are referring to the evil dictatorship that is occupying Iran, they don't say the Islamic Republic. They just say Iran. When they're talking about the Islamic regime attacking the United States, they don't say the Islamic Republic, they say Iran. And so all of a sudden, people assume, like everyone is assuming that you're referring to Iranians when that's not the case at all. Now, it's important to note as well that the Islamic Republic themselves, when they are speaking in English, will refer to themselves as Iran because they want people to think that Iranians are the enemy. They want Americans, they want everyone else to think that Iranians hate you. Why? Because if you think that Iranians don't like you, then you're not going to want to help them free themselves from the occupation, right? Again, Iranians have been held hostage for 47 years. And before the internet, before social media, before the ability to communicate from outside the country, many people thought that Iranians hated Americans, right? Because that's what the Islamic regime portrayed. They would constantly show images and videos of themselves, yelling death to America and, all that like jihadi Islamic nonsense. And Americans assumed that that was representative of all Iranians, when it's literally nothing close to the truth. You have to remember, the Islamic Republic is a totalitarian dictatorship. They own the media, they own the internet, right? Iranians inside of Iran are not even allowed to communicate with the outside world. If they do, and if their identities are found out, they are put in jail and executed. And I actually have a video of a forced confession. Let me make a note of that. I've played the forced confession video before, but I'll find it and I'll play it for you again, because when I say that the Islamic Republic literally arrests and executes Iranians for the crime of posting on social media, I'm not exaggerating. It's because the Islamic Republic does not want the world to know that Iranians despise them and Iranians are trying to overthrow them. It is in the benefit of the Islamic Republic for Americans to think that Iranians are the enemy. Because if Americans think that Iranians are the enemy, which is not the case whatsoever, right? But if Americans are convinced into thinking that way, that helps the Islamic Republic stay in power. So there's a very important video, which, you know, again, and this is why a lot of Iranians are very are sticklers when it comes to the difference between Iran and the Islamic Republic, right? Because there is a difference. Words do matter. Words matter because when you refer to the Islamic Republic as Iran, you're actually hurting the efforts of the Iranian people who are trying to overthrow the Islamic Republic and reclaim their country of Iran from Islam, right? I'm Iranian. I'm fighting against the Islamic Republic. So let's watch this video. So this video is from the current Shah of Iran in exile, His Royal Highness Reza Pahlavi. He actually explains this topic in an interview with Marissa Streit from PragerU. No, wait. Is there no audio here?
I really believe that if the revolution had not happened, Iran should be by now, if not the second Japan of the Middle East, but at least the South Korea of the Middle East.
Not
Instead,
the
we have
North
become
Korea.
the North Korea. So it's not the people that have changed or our resources being depleted. It's just the nature of the regime. And in fact, I'd like to take the opportunity, since you talk about Iran and Iranians, we feel sometimes very frustrated whenever something happens, media or political leaders say, Iran did this, Iran did that. I will urge you to help us correct that by saying, this is not Iran and Iranians. This is the regime in Iran. So it's the Islamic regime, not the Iranian people. That's one way to distinguish the aspiration of Iranians from the doing of the regime. That perception by itself is important. At the beginning, especially when the hostages were taken in the American embassy in Tehran, and of course, Khomeini had just hit the scene. I remember during that time leading to the revolution, I was still in Reese Air Force Base in Lubbock, Texas. And I can already see that sense of hostility against Iranians who had no fault whatsoever just to be Iranian. My own wife, who was studying in school in the Bay Area, was beaten up by some of her classmates just because she was an Iranian. But I think we have come a long way. I think many Iranians, especially those living in the United States, and for Americans who have interacted, example yourself, with Iranians, by now should know the difference between what actual Iranians believe or think as opposed to what the regime is projecting as being, something that is totally alien to us in terms of values, in terms of beliefs, in terms of principles. That's where all the problem started and continues to exist.
So there's a little video. I hope that provides a bit more context and explanation as to not just the difference between Iran and the Islamic Republic, but the importance of understanding that distinction. Because once you understand that difference between Iran and the Islamic Republic, then the reaction of Iranians towards Americans and President Trump starts to make a lot more sense. And then once you know that, like anyone who already appreciates the difference between Iran and the Islamic Republic is like so far ahead of all of the analysts and experts who lump in the Iranian people with the Islamic Republic and pretend that they are one and the same, when it's, you know, the complete farthest thing from the truth. Here is, this one's really cute. So this is an Iranian, older Iranian woman, like she's a grandmother. She's in America. I'm assuming an American citizen. This is her reaction to President Trump getting elected. Or not getting elected. This is during the leading up to the American election. This is what Iranian Americans thought about President Trump. Like her reaction is pretty typical. So she's like, you know, God saved you, God kept you for us, you know, it wouldn't be fair if you passed away. Like she's referring to him surviving the assassination attempt. So there you go. And the reason that Iranians in America, the vast majority, support President Trump is because he has taken a very strong stance against the Islamic Republic, right? In his first term, President Trump assassinated Qasem Soleimani. Qasem Soleimani was the head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps at the time. Again, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps was created by the Ayatollahs, by the Islamic Republic, to keep the Islamic Republic in power. How do they do that? They do that by murdering Iranians who want to rise up and overthrow them. So when President Trump assassinated or exterminated Qasem Soleimani, like the cockroach that he was, Iranians in Iran were actually happy and they were celebrating, and they actually took to the streets to protest against other Islamic regime officials. I'll even find the video for you here. So this is one video in occupied Iran. So that's a poster of Qasem Soleimani. So the Islamic Republic loves to put up, like, you know, images of their, you know, jihadi terrorists everywhere. And one of the ways that Iranians fight back, one of the ways that Iranians show the world that they do not support the Islamic Republic is by, of course, burning all of these jihadi images. So here is an Iranian who is burning this poster of Qasem Soleimani because Iranians hate Qasem Soleimani. Only terrorists and only jihadis support these people. And the vast majority of them, guys, they're not even Iranian. And I'm going to get to that. I still haven't even gotten to the no war with Iran protests. I'll show you some images and videos of that too. But like this is an occupied Iran. These are Iranians who are burning posters of Qasem Soleimani because they were happy that President Trump exterminated him. Right? So look at that. And then here we go. So this is literally from 2021. Okay. So I posted this in 2021 because when Qasem Soleimani was exterminated by President Trump, Iranians actually took to the streets in Tehran. Okay. Iranian university students took to the streets and they started chanting Soleimani qatil rahbarsh ham khaine, which means Soleimani is a murderer and his leader is also a murderer. The leader, of course, they're referring to Khamenei, right? The supreme dictator of the Islamic Republic. So this was the reaction of Iranians in occupied Iran to the news of President Trump exterminating the war criminal Soleimani. So you can see all those students out there. And then unfortunately, the Islamic Republic quashed the protests like they always do. So there's also something else I wanted to show. Another really important interview. Okay, so I'm really grateful for Marco Rubio, because Marco Rubio also makes that distinction between Iranians and the Islamic regime. Unfortunately, I don't think the distinction goes far enough, because he still uses the word Iran when he's referring to the Islamic Republic. We know what he means, but for many people who are not familiar with this dynamic of Iranians versus the Islamic Republic, it can be confusing. And so that's why we're a little bit, sticklers there. He does explain it, though. He does explain it. But again, this is where some of the confusion comes in. This is why people think that Iranians hate Americans when Iranians actually don't. But this is a very important clip from Marco Rubio. This is from June 22.
Are we now at war with Iran?
No, we're not. This is not a war against Iran.
That is critical, guys. Okay, this is really important. So this is where all of the, no war with Iran people, they actually support the Islamic Republic, because the United States and Israel were not at war with Iran or the Iranian people. They were at war with the Islamic Republic, which is occupying the Iranian people. So there is a huge difference here, right? So listen to this, and then I'm going to dig into this a little bit more as well. But that's really important. So there was never a war with Iran. It was a conflict with the Islamic Republic. And by the way, this is a war that the Islamic Republic started in 1979 when they occupied Iran, because it was in 1979 that the Islamic Republic began their death to America, America's the great Satan, jihadi Islamofascist nonsense. It was never Iran. Like I showed you, Iran and the United States were actually allies. So listen to what Marco Rubio says. Now that you have that context, now that you understand the difference between the Islamic Republic and Iran, his answer makes a lot more sense.
Are we now at war with Iran?
No, we're not. This is not a war against Iran. This is very simple. 67 days ago, the President of the United States sent the Iranians a letter, and it said, you're not going to have nuclear weapons. You're not going to have a militarized nuclear program. Let's negotiate. I want to do this diplomatically. I want to do this peacefully. They tried to play him along the way they've played every American president for the last 35 years. And, the president told them, if we don't get a deal, which is what he wanted, then I'll have to handle it differently. And that's what he did last night. He handled it differently. But that was an Iranian choice. We didn't make that choice. They did. By playing games with Donald Trump, they made a huge mistake. And President Trump acted last night. And I think the world today is safer and more stable than it was 24 hours ago. And a bunch of these countries putting out statements condemning us, privately, they all agree with us that this needed to be done. They got to do what they got to do for, their own public relations purposes. But the only people in the world that are unhappy about what happened in Iran last night is the regime in Iran.
Have you heard from anyone in Iran, and are you expecting retaliation?
Well, if they retaliate, it'll be the worst mistake they've ever made. Look, we can fly in and out of Iran at will. We went in last night. The president sent our military forces from halfway across the world, went in, conducted this operation, left. Not a shot was fired against us. They didn't even know what had happened. By the time we left, the planes were out of their airspace before they finally started realizing they'd been hit. So it would be a terrible mistake if Iran retaliates. But that's not our goal. We are not declaring war on Iran. We're not looking for war on Iran. But if they attack us, then I think we have capabilities they haven't even seen yet. It would be a terrible mistake on their part. And frankly, it's not what we hope for or wish. What we want now is to ensure that Iran never has nuclear weapons. If what they want is a civil nuclear program where they have power plants like a lot of other countries in the world have, they can do that. That's the deal that's been offered to them. They rejected it. They played us. They tried to play us, I should say. They wouldn't respond to our offers. They disappeared for 10 days. And now, you know, the president had to take action as a response.
And the response included strategic ambiguity. Can you walk us through the plan in terms of how it was deceptive?
Okay.
Are we?
So again, like he keeps on referring to Iran, right? But this is like, pay attention to this now. So this is what is always a little bit frustrating for me as an Iranian, because Marco Rubio, okay, he understands the difference between Iranians and the Islamic Republic. Okay. He understands that Iranians are occupied by the Islamic Republic. He understands that Iranians are trying to overthrow the Islamic Republic and reclaim their country. And yet in that previous interview, he just keeps on saying Iran, Iran, Iran. And then that's like, that narrative is what confuses people. But listen to what he says here. This clip did not get as much notice or attention as it should have. But listen to what he says here and listen to how he acknowledges the difference between Iranians and the Islamic Republic.
So Iran today, 2 points I want to make about Iran, and it's really important. When we talk about Iran, I'm talking about the radical Shia clerics and not the people. The people of Iran are people of an ancient civilization, an ancient culture with tremendous pride and advances. And I don't know who take great pride in their Persian heritage and identity. And I don't know of any nation on earth in which there is a bigger difference between the people and those who govern them than what exists in Iran. And that's a fact that needs to be made repeatedly. In no way is the clerics who run that country representative of the people of that country and of its history and of contributions it's made to humanity. And it's a point I wish we would continue to make. So
again, that's very important, right? Like he recognizes the difference between Iranians versus the Islamic Republic. And I also wanted to point out, okay, where is it? Okay, so I want to show this as well. So this is a video that was made by the Richard Nixon Foundation, okay? This video, once again, shows how strong of an ally, like how strong the allyship was between Iran and the United States before the Islamic Republic occupied Iran. So just let's watch this video together.
The Richard Nixon Foundation is proud and honored to present the architect of...
And by the way, so this video was made because last year, so I don't know if you guys heard, but this year, President Trump is being awarded the Richard Nixon Architect of Peace Award. Guess who won the Architect of Peace Award last year? It was the Shah of Iran in exile, His Royal Highness Reza Pahlavi. So the award that President Trump is winning this year, okay, the Shah of Iran won that award last year. And here's the video that was made prior to the Shah of Iran giving his speech last year.
Peace Award to Her Imperial Majesty Farah Pahlavi and His Imperial Highness Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi. Facing adversity with courage and determination, they have each devoted more than 40 years to championing religious freedom and focusing attention on human rights abuses in Iran, and to advocating the reinstatement of a democratic form of government. The award also recognizes the long and close relationship between Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi and Richard Nixon. The Shah's long reign spanned 7 presidential administrations. But it was his special relationship and personal friendship with President Nixon that made history and changed history. They met for the first time in Tehran in December 1953. In notes he made at the time, Vice President Nixon described the Shah's quiet dignity. He was impressed by his probing, astute questions. He sensed an inner strength. They met again in Washington in 1958 and 10 years later in Tehran. In October 1969, the new president welcomed his old friend to the White House. As a result of their discussions, reflecting the Nixon Doctrine and the president's grand strategy, the focus of U.S. Middle East policy shifted to Iran as the cornerstone of regional stability and America's partner in the struggle to counter Soviet expansion. In 1972, the Shah and Shah Banu welcomed the President and First Lady to Iran. It was a truly memorable visit that has been described as the capstone event in the shift of U.S. Persian Gulf policy, emphasizing Iranian primacy. At the White House in 1973, the warmth of the President's welcome reflected their friendship, while the depth of his remarks demonstrated the grand strategy aspects of their partnership.
Your Imperial Majesty, it is a very great honor and a special honor for me to welcome you again to our nation's capital, and at the same time to welcome Her Imperial Majesty, the Empress. Our friendship goes back over a period of 20 years, when we first met in Tehran when I was Vice President of the United States, and when you then were a very young emperor. It is significant to note that of all of the areas in the world which pose a potential threat to peace in the world, that Iran is in a very key central area. I refer, of course, to the Mideast, to the Persian Gulf, and to all of that area that surrounds it. And what gives us a great deal of heart, those of us all over the world who are interested in peace, is that you have always stood for and stand for now a policy of contributing to the forces of peace and stability rather than to the forces of war and destruction.
Guys, again, like that was in the White House. Okay, so before the Islamic Republic occupied Iran, okay, Iran and United States were close allies. Look at this.
In 1979, the former president traveled to Mexico to confer and console with the exiled and ailing Shah, assuring him that millions of Americans were still his friends. The friendship that was strong in triumph was strengthened in tragedy.
I saw the Shah the last time in Mexico, at Cuernavaca, Mexico. He was then in the last phases of terminal cancer, although he would never admit it or talk about his own problems at all. But he was quite thin and quite pale. But his head still as active and sharp as it had always been. He's a very intelligent, introspective man. And he said that what concerned him about the way he was treated by the United States was not that the United States was for him or against him, but was the uncertainty of the policy. He says there's nothing.
So he's referring to the Carter administration, okay? Because Richard Nixon was not the president at the time of the 1979 Islamic Revolution. It was Jimmy Carter and the Democrats. And Jimmy Carter decided to throw away the allyship that Iran and the United States had. And he decided instead to support the Islamic terrorists, right?
Worse when you are confronted with revolutionary and rebel forces and uncertainty insofar as support is concerned. One day, for example, he said statements would come in public and private from Washington indicating total support and urging him to stand firm. The next day, there would be some story leaked from a high-level aide printed all over the world and given particular credence in Tehran to the effect that lower level or second level people in the administration were meeting with Khomeini and others who were out to knock the Shah off or out, as the case might be. And then the next day, there would be a story to the effect that in the event that the Shah left Iran or was overthrown, the United States would be prepared to accept any government that the people chose. Well, he said all of this had the effect of encouraging his enemies and of course discouraging his own supporters. He said that was a mistake. And I believe it was a mistake too. As a matter of fact, what happened to the Shah, I think, could only be interpreted in that part of the world and other parts of the world as well, is that it is dangerous to be a friend of the United States, and it may pay to be an enemy. I think what we have to understand is that the Shah was the best friend of the United States in that area, in the whole Persian Gulf area, and it was Israel's only friend. The Shah, we must remember, in the 1973 war, furnished oil for our Mediterranean fleet when the other countries in the area cut it off.
Do you remember that? So, guys, this is why history is important. In 1973, it was the Shah of Iran who was supplying oil to the United States military fleet when none of the other Arab Gulf countries at the time did so. And Iran was also pretty much the only ally of Israel prior to 1979.
And the Shah tied down the Iraqi forces by supporting the Kurds against the Iraqis so that they never got involved in the 73 war.
A year later, he made a sad and lonely pilgrimage to march alongside the Shah Banu and the Crown Prince in the Shah's funeral procession through the streets of Cairo.
When I was there, I was the only dignitary of any rank who came to the Shah's funeral, because here the Shah, who before everybody was bowing and scraping before him, the heads of state and government and so forth, because he was rich and powerful and so forth, and now they all avoided him because he was out of power. And I never forgot that as I was standing there in the big tent where all the VIPs, usually ambassadorial level, not head of state level, were standing, Sadat came walking in, resplendent in his uniform, general's uniform. He saw me, his eyes lit up, and he walked over, held both hands out, and he said, "How good of you to come. How good of you to come." And I said, "Mr. President, it was very courageous of you to receive the Shah after virtually every other country did not grant him sanctuary." And he said, "Courageous, sir? It isn't courageous to stand up for a friend."
For more than 4 decades, Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi has dedicated his life in exile to preserving and honoring the history and greatness of Iran. He travels the world speaking out against the abuse and oppression of the Iranian people.
So this is the current Shah of Iran in exile, and he is advocating for a secular Iran,
calling for peaceful regime change and for a new government for Iran. Reza Pahlavi has said that peace is neither a relic of history nor a distant dream. It is a promise we owe to ourselves and our children, and together we can make it a reality. The Richard Nixon Foundation presents the Architect of Peace Award.
Okay, so there's a little bit of an intro there. I also want to play something else for you guys. So it's not just me, right? Because now that I've given you guys some context, okay, I want to show you that everything that I'm saying, I have the receipts, I have the proof, I have the backup, right? Because there are a lot of people who like to claim that Iranians support the Islamic Republic and Iranians hate the United States. There's a lot of trolls in the chat, but again, facts don't care about people's feelings. So here are the facts right now. I'm about to share videos and messages with you from people inside of occupied Iran. And I'm going to show you exactly what they think of the United States, what they think of President Trump, and also how they reacted to President Trump bombing the nuclear facilities of the Islamic Republic. So here's an old video. Let's start with something a little bit older. So one of the things that the Islamic Republic loves to do is they love to put paint flags of the United States and Israel on the ground and, have people walk over them. It's just like the caveman jihadi mentality. You've seen the same behavior in like the pro-Pali, pro-Hamas demonstrations where, you know, all the jihadis will like step on various flags of like America or Israel or whatever. That behavior is something that has been taught by the Islamic Republic. Okay. So all of this behavior comes from the Islamic Republic. But interestingly enough, the Islamic Republic has never been able to indoctrinate Iranians, right? Because the Islamic Republic is a foreign jihadi occupation. Their values, their ideals, okay, it's not something that we Iranians believe in. But you have all these like non-Iranians, right, who believe in this global caliphate and jihad and like whatever nonsense. They're the ones who engage in this behavior in the United States, in Canada, in the West. And yet Iranians in occupied Iran do not. Do not. Let me actually find a different one here. Where is it? I had it here. I wanted to find the comparison one. See, guys, there's so many things I need to go through with you. Here we go. Okay, so this is what I want to show you. So look at the difference between the Islamofascists and the jihadis in the United States. Okay, this is the Free Palestine movement in the United States. Okay, look at what they're doing. Like they're literally yelling Allahu Akbar while they are burning the flag of the United States. This is in a United States city, okay? Like these are the jihadis, these are the terrorists.
Burn that shit! 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 Allah! Burn that shit! Burn that shit! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
Seems like a pleasant bunch of people, right? Very nice crowd. Burning the flag of the United States and yelling Allahu Akbar. That's terrorism, guys. That's jihad. You know how I know that? Because that's what the Islamic Republic has tried to get Iranians to do for the last 47 years, and it hasn't worked. You know why? Because we're Iranian. We're not a bunch of savage, jihadi, backwards 7th century Neanderthals. I'll tell you how Iranians react to that jihadi nonsense. This is a video of university students. This is a video of university students in Iran, okay? They refuse to walk on the flag of America. They refuse to walk on the flag of Israel, even though the Islamic Republic has painted it there because they want university students to walk on them, but they don't because they're Iranian. They're not Islamic jihadi savages. But not only that, they also call out those university students who are jihadi savages, right? Because that's the one thing about us Iranians. We do not hesitate to call out those Iranians who support the Islamic Republic because they are traitors to Iran. And yes, there is a segment of Iranians who support the Islamic regime. I would say about maybe, 10% of the entire population, entire Iranian population supports the Islamic Republic, right? We're always going to have the crazies. We're always going to have the psychos. We're always going to have the traitors to Iran. But the vast majority of Iranians don't like them and will call them out. So look at how these Iranian university students react to the jihadis who do end up walking on the flag. First of all, look, they are literally walking around the flags to make sure that they don't step on it. This is in Iran, by the way, guys. This is in Iran, right? So this is in the country where all those Islamic jihadis yell death to America, death to Israel. But again, that's the Islamic Republic. What you are about to see are Iranians, right? And again, Iranians have been held hostage by the Islamic Republic for the last 47 years.
Oh, کجا؟
Right? So all the university students start pointing at like the one or two jihadis who are standing on the flag of America, and they start yelling Bisharaf. Bisharaf means dishonorable or honorless, right? It's a common chant that Iranians use when they're referring to the Islamic jihadis, right? So they're all basically pointing and shaming.
Bisharaf, 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 Bisharaf.
Then of course, you know, like just look at the comparison here. Look at the huge crowd of university students here who refuse to step on the flag of America, and then look at like just the tiny number of you know, Islamic jihadis who stand on the flag of America. Okay, like this should tell you everything you need to know about Iranian people. These are Iranian university students. Remember, the university students that Americans have imported into their country from God knows where, they're literally burning your flag and yelling Allahu Akbar, okay? But in occupied Iran, Iranians are calling out the jihadis who are stepping on the American flag. So I hope that gives you a little bit of input. Now that's an older video, okay? That's an older video. What are Iranians today thinking? I've received a number of messages, you know, from Iranians in occupied Iran who want me to share their message to the world. So here's one. The woman is speaking in Persian, but I do have subtitles here. I translated the video myself, but I'm going to give you a bit of context as well. So basically, she's driving by the American embassy in Tehran, okay? Because again, prior to 1979, Iran and the United States were allies, and there was an American embassy. So she's driving by the current, like the embassy in Tehran, it's shut down. And she's basically saying that we are ready to welcome America back. We can't wait. You know, we Iranians, we love you. We promise we'll be amazing hosts. We can't wait to host you in our country. And then she says, basically, greetings to America and greetings to Israel. Because, of course, the vast majority of Iranians are also pro-Israel. That's another thing that a lot of people don't know about. That's going to be a topic for another live stream. But yes, Iranians, vast majority, pro-Israel, pro-United States. The only ones who are not pro-Israel or pro-United States are the, you know, the jihadis, of course, the Islamists. And then you have the communists and Marxists, and then, you know, the woke progressive left, right? So just watch this video, and, you know, you can read along with the captions there.
روی دیوار سفارت آمریکا نوشتن که مرگ بر آمریکا و غیره. امیدواریم به زودی سفارت آمریکا به اینجا برگرده، آمریکا به اینجا برگرده و ما میزبان خوبی برای مردم آمریکا و سفارت آمریکا باشیم، به امید آزادی، به امید پیروزی. درود بر اسرائیل، درود بر آمریکا.
So durud means greetings. So she ends her message with greetings to Israel, greetings to America. So if I go back a little bit, just to slow it down so I can read the captions for you. So she says, on the American embassy wall, they've, you know, by they, she means the Islamic Republic, has written death to America and so on. We Iranians hope the American embassy returns soon. We hope that America returns to Iran. We'll be good hosts to the American people and their embassy. Here's to freedom and victory. Greetings to Israel. Greetings to America. Okay? So there's also some messages. Let me find the messages here. I have to go back here. Okay, I think the messages are further down. Okay, so now here's a message from an Iranian woman. Again, another message from another Iranian woman in occupied Iran. Okay, she's speaking in English, so you can actually understand what she's saying. And contrary to what people might think, Iranians are highly educated, and a lot of them do speak English. And if not speak, they can at least understand it. So here, this Iranian woman has a message for President Trump and for Americans. And I also want you guys to keep in mind, Iran is currently occupied by an Islamic dictatorship, right? It is a crime to have anything related to the United States. Like, that's considered treason. So she's literally risking her life by even having a Trump hat, okay? But guys, this is how popular President Trump is inside of occupied Iran. There's literally a black market for President Trump hats, right? So you have like, Iranian embroidery factories or whatever, literally printing off, copies of like President Trump hats that they see online, and Iranians are buying them. Iranians are literally buying like MAGA Trump hats. They can't wear them publicly because that's considered a crime. They could be executed for treason for that. But there's a huge market. There's a huge market for Trump paraphernalia in Iran, if you guys didn't know that. All right, let's listen to her message.
A message from inside Iran to President of Hearts, President Trump. Please do not sign a deal with this terrorist regime. We want regime change. We want our Shah back. Please support Bibi Netanyahu. He knows us very well and we trust him. Please listen to our Shah, and we want to be the greatest allies of the United States and Israel like before, and it will happen under our Shah. We count on you, sir. You are the only man who can do it. Without United States, we cannot do it by ourselves. God bless America. Am Israel Chai, Payande Iran, Javid Shah.
You can also tell that this is an occupied Iran because of the this poster here. That's like some, I think that's like Nasrallah, maybe, I don't know, but it's like one of those like jihadi terrorists, right? Those posters that are everywhere. So there you go. There's a video message from an Iranian. And then during the, a lot of Iranians have also put out messages basically trying to tell the world that you either stand with Iran or you stand with the Islamic Republic, right? Because again, the Islamic Republic is murdering Iranians and Iranians are trying to overthrow them. So here's a message. And, oftentimes the world doesn't see these sorts of messages because people are mostly, like Iranians are mostly tweeting in Farsi, in Persian. I try to translate when I can, but there's so many of them and it's so overwhelming. But this one is really heartbreaking. So this is a message from an Iranian whose brother was murdered by the terrorist Islamic Republic. And it's very simple. You either stand with him or you stand with the Islamic Republic that murdered his brother. So what he writes here is, we are on the 2nd anniversary of our loved ones. These days are very difficult, indescribable. I want to say that the only heartfelt wish of every family seeking justice is for the Islamic State to be eliminated. I hope you will help us and end it. Let's all work together to eliminate the Islamic State. So that's another message from an Iranian. And then during the 12-day conflict between Israel and the Islamic Republic, because again, the war was not between Israel and Iran. The war was between Israel and the Islamic Republic that's occupying Iran, right? The Islamic Republic is the enemy of the Iranian people. There were a lot of anti-war demonstrations outside of Iran. Those anti-war demonstrations were funded by the Islamic Republic, and I'm going to get to that, okay? Those anti-war demonstrations, the vast majority of them who participated were not even Iranian. The ones who did participate were either part of the Islamic Republic or they were, part of the far left communist Marxists. So, but here's what Iranians in Iran were tweeting, okay? Like these are the things that non-Iranians don't see because, these accounts always tweet in Farsi and they tweet in Persian. So of course it's not going to show up on your timeline. So here, like this account says, I'm under the bombing of Tehran, right? So this guy, okay, we follow each other, by the way. This guy is actually in Iran, in Tehran. He was there when Israel was bombing, right? Bombing not Iranians, because the IDF was not attacking Iranians. The IDF was attacking IRGC bases, right? They were attacking the occupiers of the Iranian people. And the Iranian people were happy when Israel was doing that. But here's his message, okay? So this is someone who is literally stuck in the conflict between Israel and the Islamic Republic. And this is his message. So he says, friends abroad, I'm under the bombing of Tehran. I beg you, I plead with you not to let the regime's clowns hold anti-war demonstrations. Film them, threaten them, disrupt their demonstrations, and do whatever you can. This is our last chance for freedom. So you have to ask yourself, why would an Iranian inside of Iran ask those of us who are outside of Iran to raise awareness and call out the anti-war demonstrations? He says it. He says not to let the regime's clowns hold anti-war demonstrations, because the only people outside of Iran who were holding anti-war demonstrations were people who support the Islamic Republic, because they understood that Israel was responding to the Islamic Republic and nothing to do with the Iranian people. In fact, the Iranian people wanted the conflict to continue. They wanted America and Israel to exterminate the Islamic Republic, because that would have given the Iranian people an opportunity to overthrow the Islamic Republic and free themselves, right? And who are the kinds of people who were holding no war demonstrations? Well, let me show you, okay? Let me show you. Do you see these people? These are the people who were holding no war with Iran demonstrations. The jihadi pro-Palestine crowd, right? And do you see that flag there? That's the flag of the Islamic Republic. That's the flag of our occupiers. Like, remember, guys, this is the real flag of Iran. The flag you see here is the flag of the Islamic Republic that's occupying Iran. So to give you a comparison, to add some context, maybe think of Germany and then think of the Nazis, right? So the flag behind me is like the flag of Germany. And then this Allahu Akbar flag here is basically the Nazi flag, right? It's like the evil swastika flag. For us as Iranians, whenever we see this flag, it's no different than seeing the flag of the Nazis. It's the exact same thing for us. It's evil, it's demonic, it represents death, it represents torture, it represents murder. Because again, this is the flag of the evil Islamic dictatorship that has been murdering us Iranians for the last 46 years, okay? So these people do not support Iran. These people and all these like disgusting Palestinians or whoever they are, right? And when you look at their faces, you can tell like most of them aren't even Iranian. Most of them aren't even Iranian, but these are the people who support our murderers. These people want us to remain occupied. These people want us to be murdered. Do you know why? Because they are funded and paid by the Islamic Republic. when the Islamic Republic occupied Iran in 1979, they began to use our country as a personal ATM. They are funding all of these Islamic terrorists with the stolen money of Iran that should be going to the Iranian people. But instead, it's going to fund their terrorism and their jihad. It's going to fund, like the money goes to Hamas, right? And then Hamas murders innocent Israelis. The money goes to fund Hezbollah, and then Hezbollah goes and murders Lebanese people. The money goes to fund the Houthis, and the Houthis are now in a civil war, and there's been an 8-year-long famine in Yemen, right? All of that is funded by the Islamic Republic, and that's why the pro-Palestine people or whatever, they are enemies of Iranians because they support our oppressors. Why? Because our oppressors pay them. And that's why here you see the fake flag of Palestine with the jihadi terrorist flag of the Islamic Republic. They go hand in hand, right? They're all terrorists. They're all terrorists, guys. Anyway, so there's one. And then again, so this was the other thing that really frustrated me, right? So they're talking, so again, this is during the 12-day conflict. And this time in the UK, you have the no war with Iran crowd. Again, they're terrorists, right? How do we know they're terrorists? Because they're literally holding pictures of Khamenei. Remember, this guy is the evil dictator of the Islamic Republic. This guy is responsible for murdering hundreds of thousands of Iranians, right? He is basically our version of Hitler. Khamenei is the modern day version of Hitler. And yet these jihadis, and when you look at the photo, they don't even look Iranian, right? Like these people are not Iranian. They're literally holding signs of Khamenei, which is the equivalent of Hitler to us Iranians. And they're saying, stand on the right side of history. All of this is funded, guys. All of this is connected, right? So all of those no war with Iran demonstrations, they were never talking about Iran. They were never talking about us Iranians. They're talking about the Islamic Republic, but they purposely conflate the two, right? Because they want non-Iranians to think that we support terrorism. No, we are victims of terrorism. We are hostages of Islamic terrorism. We are trying to break free, and yet these people are funded to try and stop us. These people want us to die, right? And then these are the ones who are like, oh, we're the victims in Palestine, free Palestine, whatever, right? Like on one hand, they say free Palestine, but then on the other hand, they're holding signs of this evil Islamic dictator. And then they expect us to want to support them. This is why I don't support Palestine. This is why I will never support the fake Palestinian cause, because these guys are terrorists and these guys support the people who murder Iranians. Okay. And again, look at this. Look at this. So look at this jihad. Look at these people. They're not Iranian, okay? They're not Iranian. They're a bunch of ignorant white leftists. And then there are a bunch of Pakistanis and Arabs. And these are the people who are participating in the no war with Iran demonstration, right? Again, they don't actually care about us Iranians, right? They only care about the Islamic Republic.
There is only one solution.
Right? So again, it's like the same jihadi nonsense, right? And then they're holding, these Palestinians are holding a poster of Khamenei. Ask yourself, why the hell are Palestinians holding a poster of the Islamic dictator occupying Iran? Do you know why? Because they're connected, because Palestinians are funded by them, and they're all a bunch of savage terrorists. And they've played you all. They've played you all. They've made you think that they are the victims. They are not victims, guys. They are jihadis. They are savages. They are terrorists.
There is only one solution.
Like, he's not Iranian. I don't know. He's like, what is he, like Pakistani or something? I have no idea. Why the hell is some Pakistani guy defending the Islamic Republic? He's not Iranian.
Oh, intifada, intifada. Intifada, intifada. Intifada, intifada. Intifada, intifada. Long live.
And then, you have all of the idiotic white people, right? The useful idiots who are joining them, right? So again, you literally have idiotic white people on the left who are supporting one of the most brutal Islamic dictatorships in the world, who murder Iranians every day. Like, this is the insanity of people on the left right now. This is the insanity. I don't understand. Like, these leftists have to be incredibly low IQ to actually support a brutal Islamic dictatorship that murders Iranians and murders Iranian women just for showing a strand of hair, right?
Intifada.
Like, that's a dictator.
Intifada, intifada. Intifada, intifada. We are the intifada.
God, I can't watch this without getting angry. Like, I just want to swear at them all. Like, they're not Iranian. So do you guys see how during the 12-day conflict, these people were out there? Like, they were getting funded. There were organized demonstrations that were funded by the Islamic Republic for non-Iranians to go out there and defend the Islamic Republic and literally hold a photo of Khamenei, who's the modern day Hitler, right? And then these are the people who claim that they're like victims and they're oppressed and whatever, right? Like, it's utter nonsense. I found this one video of this Iranian woman in Ottawa who actually confronts the terror, like a pro-Pali group or something. Let me find it. And then I have some other messages I want to share with you guys as well. Where'd it go? This is a really good one because she's Iranian and she just, she calls out the people. Like, see how much nonsense I have? Like, there's so much that I need to go through with you guys and share with you on this. Where did I put it? Okay, so again, like, okay, so here's another video of this idiotic white man, okay, in the United States. He's literally holding the flag of the Islamic Republic. Again, the Islamic Republic is a flag of our occupiers, right? The Islamic Republic is the equivalent of the flag of Nazi Germany. The flag behind me, that's the lion and sun flag. So this idiotic white man is holding the flag of the Islamic Republic, a brutal dictatorship that murders Iranians, and he's out there attacking Jewish people like a psycho. So do you see how all of these, like, no war with Iran demonstrations, Iranians weren't even involved, right? Because I just showed you messages, and I'll show you more, messages from Iranian people in occupied Iran who wanted this to continue, who were happy when Israel and the United States were attacking the Islamic Republic. Meanwhile, these idiotic, white people are waving the flag of our occupiers. Like, it's wild to me. It's wild.
Go away! Go away! Evil spirits, go away! I love Israel!
Like this is mental illness, guys. This is mental illness. I never thought I would ever see this sort of scene in America. Like, I never thought that I would see a white American man waving the flag of a terrorist dictatorship that chants death to America. There's a big problem with, like, indoctrination that's happening in the West, because this doesn't happen by accident, guys. This does not happen by accident. Like, this is insanity to me, right? Like, this, I mean, put aside the Israeli flags, right? Like, put aside that. That is not my flag. That is not my flag. That's my flag. The lion and sun flag. That's the flag of Iran. And yet this idiot thinks that he's actually supporting Iranians? No, he is supporting the dictators that murder Iranians, right? Like he's literally supporting the bad guys here. This evil man is supporting the bad guys. And you know what I think the problem is here? There is such a huge anti-Semitism problem in Western countries that idiots like this stupid white man are literally willing and prepared to support a brutal Islamic dictatorship as long as it's on the other side of Israel, right? Like these people are so blinded by their hatred for Israel that they are willing to support the people who murder me and my family. It's sick. It's disgusting. There's a huge anti-Semitism problem that we need to address. Because let me tell you something. During the 12-day conflict between Israel and Iran, Iranians and Jews outside of Iran were actually holding vigils together. They were holding peace vigils together. I'm going to save that for another time because I have a lot more to talk about. And I just want to focus on America right now. But I just want to say, it is wild to me. Like there is a failure in something, right? Like this just shows the level of indoctrination where random white people are waving flags of a terrorist organization that murders Iranians. Like there's something wrong. The level of infiltration has reached like very, very high alert levels here. Like we Iranians, we are fighting to overthrow the Islamic Republic. Meanwhile, this idiotic American is waving the flag of the... I don't understand how this is not even banned. Like the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is a listed terror entity in the United States. So how the hell are these people supporting them? It's absolutely ridiculous. Like it just blows my mind, right? All right, where's the woman? Okay. So here's another one. Here's another one, right? Like, again, like all these like Europeans are holding pictures of Khamenei. And look, guys, this is very important, okay? Because again, Khamenei is a dictator. He is a war criminal. He's an Islamic terrorist, right? Look at the name of the organization that made this poster. Islamic Human Rights Commission. Someone in the UK needs to investigate the Islamic Human Rights Commission because there are a lot of terrorist organizations that pretend, you know, they're for something else. They make up, you know, a fancy, you know, peaceful name like Islamic Human Rights Commission, right? But they're a front for terrorism. They're a front for jihad. They're a front for promoting Islamic, you know, Islamofascist ideology. Why the hell is the Islamic Human Rights Commission printing posters of modern day Hitler, right? This is Khamenei, the supreme dictator of the Islamic Republic. Why are they printing posters of him and saying, choose the right side of history? This man is evil. This man is murdering us Iranians. So do you see how, like, do you see how all of these free Palestine and whatever, like they're all terrorists. They're all terrorists because they literally support terrorism. This is why I have zero sympathy for Palestine, right? Like Palestine doesn't exist. It's never existed. They're just a bunch of savage jihadi terrorists. I support Israel 100%, you know, Zionist. I'm Yisrael Chai. And then these people, these jihadis hold the sign, hold an image of that disgusting, evil individual. And then they want my support, my sympathy. And guys, I'm holding back. I'm holding back right now. But it's wild to me. Like, no Iranians here, okay? Oh, I like this. I like this, right? Like, this is an accurate depiction of the far left supporting the Islamic Republic, right? If you guys watch Rick and Morty, I do. You know, Morty says, oh my God, what is this? And Rick says, we're in a world where Australian gay rights organizations defend the Islamic Republic of Iran, Morty. Like, it's just insane. It's absolutely insane. Where is, I want to find that video. Okay, so, oh, then the other thing is Iranians were also making fun of the useful idiots in the West, right? So, I just wanted to bookmark one. I tried to find one that's a little bit more polite, okay? Because Iranians don't hold back, especially not when they're speaking in Farsi. And I didn't want to, I wanted to keep the show at least a little bit, you know, PG. So this is one of the few I could find where they're not like all out swearing. So this person has a picture of this like idiotic white woman. And again, you can see the flag of the Islamic Republic there, and also the fake flag of Palestine, right? Like all the jihadis, all the terrorists are there. And then this like idiotic blonde woman, I guess, thinks she's cool, maybe. Maybe she thinks she's cool by supporting Islamic terrorists, right? And then you could see, so this account, Dam Dam, he also has the funniest take. So he says, Gave Bolonde Urupai, which basically means blonde European cow. So he's basically, you know, calling her out for being stupid, right? A blonde European cow, because she's literally supporting Islamic terrorists. She's supporting the people who murder Iranians. And this post alone, 8.2 thousand likes, okay? So, yeah, this is what Iranians think of idiotic white people on the left who support Islamic terrorists as well. So, yeah. Okay, this is what I want to show you. So, this is an Iranian woman, and this is in Ottawa, and she comes across one of those, you know, no war with Iran demonstrations. And then when you look at this video, you can see that the people who are saying no war with Iran are actually not Iranian. They're like, you know, Palestinian or Pakistani or I don't know, whatever. And they're actually, what they mean is no war with the Islamic Republic, right? Like they're supporting the Islamic Republic. And this Iranian woman, just like me, just like millions of Iranians in Iran and around the world, we hate the Islamic Republic. We don't support the Islamic Republic. We were happy when Israel and United States was bombing the Islamic Republic, not because we want war, guys. You have to understand, it's not like we want war. It's not like we were happy that, you know, there were, you know, some civilian casualties. No. But the reason that we were happy is because Israel and the United States were exterminating the people who are responsible for murdering us and our children for the last 47 years, right? They were going after the people who murder us. So look at this woman, watch what she says. So this is an Iranian woman who is reacting to the no war with Iran terrorists, right?
I'm good. We're just recording. I'm recording. Just let it go.
So there you go. There's not a single Iranian in that crowd. They're all a bunch of like pro-Palestine jihadis. You also see like the communist flag of Che Guevara, right? And then this Iranian woman, she's, you know, giving them the finger and she's saying F you. And those people are like, you know, jeering at her. Why? Because those people, like, they know what they're doing, guys. This is what I want to stress. The people who are supporting the Islamic Republic, you know, the non-Iranians, it's not that they don't know. They know exactly what is going on. They know that Iranians are being murdered by the Islamic Republic. They don't care. Do you know why? Because they are on the payroll of the Islamic Republic. It is their job to support the Islamic Republic. It is their job to keep the Islamic Republic in power, because that's how these people get paid. They see Iran as a paycheck. So don't think that they're innocent or uneducated. No, these are jihadis. They are terrorists. They support terrorism. And you can see all of these like jihadi terrorist flags, right? Like there's not a single Iranian, in this class. This is the only Iranian woman here, and she's telling them exactly what all of us think about it, right? And then they start going after her, right? So like, look at this crowd. Look at this crowd. It's all like jihadis. It's all like the fake Palestine, idiotic watermelon people. Like there's Che Guevara, like an idiot. Yeah. This is what I mean when I said the no war with Iran demonstrations in the West, they weren't organized by us Iranians. They were organized by the same people who, chant intifada and, whatever. Like it's the same group of savages. It's the same group of jihadis. See a comment here. Major. I call them experiencers. They've never been anywhere, never seen anything, never done anything, and never placed themselves in mortal danger, but they want the experiences safely with lattes. 100%. That's definitely the useful idiots on the left, for sure, 100%. They are definitely the experiencers, but these people here, the ones who are from the Middle East, they know exactly what they're doing, and they're doing it on purpose, right? They're doing it on purpose. So there you go. That's what Iranians actually think. Now, I wanted to, okay, let me go back a little bit here. Where am I going to start from here? Okay. And I also wanted to play a video for you. So when I say that the Islamic Republic is occupying Iran and murdering Iranians, there's so much video and footage out there. I could spend hours playing it for you, but I want to show one in particular. This is from 2009. I was a university student in 2009, and that's when sort of the Green movement was happening. The Green movement that was unsuccessful because of Obama, but I'll save that for another time. But this video is what radicalized me, because the girl in this video was also a university student, and she was marching peacefully in the streets because, she wanted freedom, and she was shot. The Islamic Republic murdered her for the crime of walking in the street. And her name was Nida. And I've never been able to get the image of this video out of my mind. And this video is the reason that I'm outspoken, and I will continue to be outspoken. And this video is the reason why the trolls and the gaslighters and all the haters will never be able to stop me from speaking out. Because when I look at this video, that could have been me. The only difference between Nida and me, because we were around the same age, the only difference between her and me is that I was lucky enough to grow up outside of Iran, and she grew up in occupied Iran. Just watch this video. Her crime was wanting to live in a free country, and the Islamic Republic shot her, an unarmed university student. The men are okay. So here she's already been shot. Okay, so she was shot, and then the camera started filming after. And again, this is 2009, so that's why the quality is very low, because phones in 2009 didn't have the same quality. But you can already see the blood here. You can already see the blood from where they shot her in the chest. So then the people around her are trying to I guess, like they're pushing down on her to try and stop the bleeding, and then they try to like give her CPR, but obviously they can't, because the bullet just like it went into her heart and it just exploded. And then so you see people trying to save her, and then one man starts yelling like, "Don't die, don't die," and she's gone. And no, there was no arrest. There was no arrest because the Islamic Republic did this to her. The Islamic Republic has been murdering Iranians for 47 years with impunity. There's no justice. This is the occupation. The real occupation, guys, the real occupation is in Iran. It's not Gaza. People in Gaza are free. They're a bunch of like savage jihadi terrorists. The real occupation is in Iran. Iran has been occupied since 1979. There are countless videos and images like this. I mean, I can find more, and I can show you more in another episode. But this radicalized me. This video in 2009 is when I said enough is enough. I'm going to start speaking out. Watch it again and just see how the people around her are panicking, right? They're panicking. They're trying to save her. They're yelling her name. They're saying, "Nida, don't die." I added captions at the bottom so you can follow along with the captions at the bottom of this video because I translated. But yeah, the people are freaking out because she was shot. The Islamic Republic is occupying Iran. The Islamic Republic is a terrorist organization that has been occupying Iran since 1979. And this is what they do to Iranians who speak out. And again, her only crime was walking down the street. So they're like, "Someone take her to the hospital." So here she's still alive, and you can see like they're pressing down on the gunshot wound, right? They're pressing down on the bullet wound to try and, I guess, keep the blood from coming out. And here she's like, these are literally her final moments. Like she's in shock. She's in shock. And then they're saying natars. Natars means like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Like nida, don't be afraid. And now they're saying fishar bede, like apply pressure, because they're starting to see the blood come up, right? And then here you can see like the blood is starting to come out of her mouth and her nose. So now they start yelling. They're like, "Oh my God, like Nina, don't be afraid." And then they all start panicking because they're literally watching her die right in front of them. Do you see all that blood there? It's literally pouring out of her nose and mouth from the gunshot wound. So now they're like, they're swearing at the Islamic Republic, right? They're saying nida bimun, like stay, don't go. Don't die. So here they're trying to like give CPR, and one guy's yelling like, "Open her mouth, give her CPR." And then, right? So all of the pro-Palestine jihadi people who support the Islamic Republic, that's what they support. They literally support the murder of Iranian people. So when I say that Iranians were happy when President Trump attacked the Islamic Republic's nuclear facilities, they were happy because President Trump weakened their oppressors. In fact, Iranians were hoping that President Trump would go even further. I want to share some other messages with you guys. Let me go back and find them. Let me see here. I have a lot here to go through, guys. Okay. Oh yeah. Here's what Iranians think of Palestine, by the way. So one of the things that the Islamic Republic did when they took over our country in 1979 is they renamed a lot of our streets to like Palestine Street or whatever. Whenever there's demonstrations, Iranians will usually tear down the, Palestine street signs and step on them because Iranians hate Palestine. And if you don't believe me, here's a video. Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite videos, okay? So again, like the Islamic Republic, so this is a good example of the difference between the Islamic Republic and Iran, right? Again, Islamic Republic occupying Iran. So in this video, they are trying to get young Iranian school children to chant death to Israel, but the school children respond with death to Palestine, which I think is hilarious, right? Because again, Iranians were not inbred savage jihadis. We have no issue with Israel or America. In fact, we love Israel and America. We are pro-Israel. We are pro-America. And even Iranians in Iran are pro-Israel and pro-America. Like, look at this. Look at this. Look at these school children, okay? And then compare this with the school children in like Western countries who are being indoctrinated by the jihadis. And then they all support Palestine. But the school children in Iran support Israel. Watch this video. So I'm gonna translate this for you. So you can hear. Okay, so you're about to hear the voice of an adult, and he's gonna say "Mag bar Israel," which means death to Israel. Okay, so you're gonna hear "Mag bar Israel." So he says "Mag bar Israel," and then now the students are going to repeat, but they're going to say "Mag bar Philistine," which means death to Palestine. So, I mean, there you go. Like, the Islamic Republic has been trying to indoctrinate Iranians for 47 years to hate America and to hate Israel. Right. And like they even fly the jihadi flags, but Iranians, like it's not part of our culture. Like the allyship and friendship and cultural linkage between Iranians and Israelis goes back thousands of years. Right. And the Islamic Republic is a foreign ideology, and their jihad doesn't really fit in with Iranian culture. So when I say Iran is occupied by the Islamic Republic, this is what I'm referring to. Okay, let me now. Okay, I also want to play. There's a lot of videos from Prime Minister Netanyahu, but I'm just going to play one. Okay, I'm going to play one because one thing that Prime Minister Netanyahu does is he actually said, oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to save this for my Israel versus Iran live stream because I want to focus on America right now. So we've seen that. I've shown you these. And then where are the messages? Because during the 12-day conflict, I was also, here we go. So I was seeing, so for example, this is one of those accounts where, the person is in occupied Iran. And here's the thing, guys, people who are inside of occupied Iran, they cannot use their real name or their real image because using social media is banned. And if Iranians speak out against the Islamic Republic and they're caught, that's treason and they're executed. And there's actually forced confession videos of that happening. I made a note here I will play that forced confession video for you because I'm not exaggerating. The Islamic Republic literally arrests Iranians who are active on social media, forces them to confess to being Israeli agents, and then executes them. And then they broadcast it live on TV for everyone to see, right? Like it's horrific stuff. But here's a message from an Iranian, and he says, Israel, please target Ali Khamenei, Mojtaba Khamenei, and the Islamic Republic's state broadcaster. So there's one message, but where's the other one? Let me see, what's this one? Okay, this is the one I wanted. Here we go. So this is an account in occupied Iran, and he sent me this letter that he wrote, and he wanted me to share it. So I put it on my X account to help spread the word, but I wanted to share this letter with you as well, okay? Because this letter came to me on July 9. So it was just after the 12-day conflict. So this account writes, "To the ears of the world, hear this. We, the people of Iran, are fed up with the current regime and demand the return of the monarchy. For years, we've lived under suppression and corruption. Every protest is met with bullets and massacres." And I just showed you a video of Nida from 2009. So every demonstration is met with bullets and massacres. It's not an exaggeration. "The monarchy symbolizes our identity and progress. Currently, the people of Iran love the people of Israel and yearn for peace and friendship with them. It is this regime that sows seeds of animosity, not us. Be our voice. We are fighting for freedom, dignity, and peace. Your silence is complicity with the oppressor. Iran needs your support. This message is the cry of 90 million of Iranians. God bless Netanyahu, real Donald Trump, and Pahlavi Reza." And there you can see the flag of Israel, the flag of Iran, and the flag of America. Here's another one. Oh, no, wait, that's regarding Israel. So a lot of people have also said, they want to know what life is like living in occupied Iran. Guys, The Handmaid's Tale was inspired by the 1979 Islamic Revolution. And, quite frankly, as an Iranian, I find it incredibly insulting when these woke leftist liberals dress up in a Handmaid's Tale outfit and pretend like President Trump is turning the United States into Gilead. I mean, these people have no idea. By the way, all of these people who, pretend like they're in The Handmaid's Tale, they're also the woke left. They don't support Iranian women. They don't support the people who are actually suffering under real life modern Gilead. So Gilead was inspired by the Islamic Revolution and the treatment of women in occupied Iran by the Islamic Republic. And I made this video a few years ago. It was during the Mahsa Amini demonstrations, but it's still relevant today. So what I did is I took the top part is like a trailer from The Handmaid's Tale, and then the bottom part of it, okay, the bottom part is scenes of actual footage of actual demonstrations in Iran, the Islamic Republic attacking Iranians, murdering Iranians, all of that stuff. So and then just see how it aligns, right? It lines up, unfortunately, very good. But yeah, living in Iran, guys, it's basically you take Gilead and you take 1984 and you combine them together and you put it on crack, right? It's insane. The amount of surveillance, the suppression of human rights and freedoms, it's wild. And again, Iranians are murdered every day and no one is arrested. No one's arrested. They don't care. Let's watch this.
I was asleep before. That's how we let it happen. When they slaughtered Congress, we didn't wake up. when they blamed terrorists and suspended the Constitution. We didn't wake up then either. Now I'm awake.
You girls will serve the leaders.
There's an eye in your house. I want to keep on living for her.
Do not let them grind you down. You fight.
They should have never given us uniforms if they didn't want us to be an army.
So there you go. Those are just tiny clips of what Iranian people go through. So let me find. Okay. Let's see here. So there's a lot of footage, right? Okay, so this is one of my favorite ones. This is during the 12-day conflict. So again, this video here perfectly encapsulates the difference between Iran and the Islamic Republic. And the reason why Iranians were happy with what Israel and the United States were doing to the Islamic Republic is because, again, Iran is occupied by a brutal dictatorship. And there were so many videos coming out of Iranians literally just living their day-to-day lives and just, casually filming and watching Israel attacking IRGC bases and facilities, because Iranians were incredibly confident in Israel and felt safe. And they knew that Israel was not attacking Iran. Israel was not attacking the Iranian people. They were going after the IRGC bases. And again, the IRGC murders Iranians. So of course, Iranians are happy about that. Watch this. So this is someone who was at a wedding during the 12-day conflict. And like people are literally celebrating and dancing. And then he's like filming the attacks from above. So you can see they're literally dancing while the attacks are going on, right? And then here's a message from Iranians in occupied Iran. So this was spray painted on the wall. It's written in Persian, "Buye suqut miyad," which means it smells like the end, right? It smells like the downfall of the Islamic Republic. And then they also have the Allahu Akbar symbol, but it's upside down, right? So the reason it's upside down is because it symbolizes the end of the Islamic Republic. Again, the Allahu Akbar symbol doesn't represent Iran. That's our flag. So that Allah symbol is the flag of the Islamic Republic, and it's upside down. So that's what Iranians think of the Islamic Republic. Where's the one? Okay, there's also one. Oh no, I'm going to save that for a different one. And then again, like the only people who were supporting the Islamic Republic during the 12-day conflict was people like Mehdi Hassan, right? Mehdi Hassan is an Islamist. He supports Islamic, like the guy's a terrorist himself, right? He's not even Iranian, and yet he was defending the Islamic Republic. And again, what's really upsetting for me as an Iranian is that he is purposely conflating Iran with the Islamic Republic, right? He's making it seem as if it's one and the same. And then he's like, Iran this, Iran that. No, it's not Iran, it's the Islamic Republic. But that's how the propagandists for the Islamic Republic operate, right? They don't make that distinction. They don't make that separation. And so what happens is that non-Iranians think that Iranians are terrorists when we're not. And it's always like, I don't know, what is this guy, like Pakistani or something? Like, why is it always the weird, like jihadi Pakistanis who support the Islamic Republic? Like, buddy, you're not even Iranian. Like, stay out of our business. Stay out of our business. But he is funded to be a mouthpiece for Islamic terrorism. And so he was actually defending, again, he is defending the people that murder Iranians, right? You know that Nida, I showed you her video, the university students who was shot to death. Mehdi Hassan is supporting and defending the people who murdered her and millions of people like her, right? And then this is June 16, okay? So this is June 16. It's during the conflict. Iranians, right? They went to the rooftops and they were yelling death to Khamenei. Meanwhile, people like Mehdi Hassan are defending the Islamic Republic, right? Mehdi Hassan is defending the Islamic Republic. The pro-Palestine jihadi people, terrorists are defending the Islamic Republic. The Palestinians are holding posters of Khamenei. Remember, the Islamic Human Rights Commission in the UK is printing out and distributing posters of Khamenei, the evil dictator of the Islamic Republic, the dictator that's responsible for murdering us. That's what all the non-Iranians are doing outside of Iran. Meanwhile, Iranians in the country, okay, this is what they're doing. They're going to the rooftops, right? Because there's safety in the dark, less chance of them being identified. Because again, if they say death to Khamenei and they're identified, they are executed. Iranians are murdered for less than that. But here they are during the 12-day conflict. They're going to the rooftops and they're yelling death to Khamenei. Listen to this. And again, death to Khamenei in Farsi is Marg bar Khamenei. So listen to this. So this is the stuff that you don't see in the mainstream media, right? You never see Western media show videos like this. Probably because either it doesn't fit the narrative or probably because they have no idea what's going on, right? And that's the problem, because a lot of people who like the people who speak about Iran, there's two types, okay? I'm talking about like in the mainstream, right? I'm not talking about myself. The people in the mainstream who speak about Iran are typically two types. They are either the jihadis and Islamists like Mehdi Hassan, who support the Islamic Republic, right? And so they're a mouthpiece for the Islamic Republic, right? So people like Mehdi Hassan support the oppression and murder of Iranians. That's the first kind. The second kind of people are those who simply have no real understanding of Iran. They don't understand that there's a difference between Iran versus the Islamic Republic. They don't know that Iran is occupied by the Islamic Republic because they've never bothered to look into what Iranians actually think or say. And so stuff like this, they probably just ignore and they don't comment on it because they don't know how to analyze this, right? Because in any other scenario, you would think that if a country is under attack, the people in that country would go out and support their own country and, you know, maybe chant death to America or death to Israel or whatever, right? Like, that's what you would expect to see in Iran. But instead, what happened during the 12-day conflict is Iranians went to the roofs and they started chanting death to Khamenei. Because Iranians were sending a message. They were telling the world that we are being held hostage by the Islamic Republic. We are occupied by the Islamic Republic, and we want the conflict to eliminate Khamenei. Like the Iranians wanted, they were hopeful that Khamenei would be eliminated. Iranians love America. They love President Trump. But I can tell you, you know, one of the things that they told me to share with you in this podcast, in this live stream, is that they were very upset and heartbroken when Trump didn't go all the way, because they were really hoping that Trump would have just ended Khamenei so that Iranian people could rise up. That's the only criticism they have of America and President Trump. And this doesn't mean boots on the ground. This doesn't mean World War III. None of that happened. None of that will happen, because as I'm demonstrating to you, Iranians hate the Islamic Republic, right? I can't think of any other country in the world where, you know, the government, I mean, I use the word government loosely because there's no government in Iran. Iran is occupied by the Islamic Republic, but I can't think of any other country where if a foreign country was attacking, the people of that country would be happy. And the reason that they're happy is because the situation in Iran is so dire, is so desperate. And Iranians have been trying to overthrow the Islamic Republic, but they can't do it on their own because the Islamic Republic is way too powerful. They have the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is basically a separate military. And that military's sole purpose is to keep Iranian people in check whenever they try to rise up. And beat them down. And here, I'll show you another video. And I mean, these people, they don't spare. These people, they don't spare anyone, right? I mean, you saw they shot Nida, that university student, and here they are. Look at this. So here's some Iranian women, and then here is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, right? Literally plainclothes people who ride around on motorcycles, and they just arbitrarily beat up anyone, shoot anyone, murder anyone. These people literally have a free pass to kill anyone, beat anyone, drag anyone away. And look what they do to these women here. Just watch this. It gets off and he starts beating them. See that? See that? That's day-to-day life in Iran. I don't even know what those women were doing to deserve being beaten like that. Watch it again. Watch it again. This happens all the time. This happens all the time in Iran. This is why Iranians hate the Islamic Republic. This is why Iranians were happy when President Trump attacked their oppressors, right? Because again, the Islamic Republic is an occupying force. And that's not even that bad. That's not even the worst of it, guys. That's the crazy part. I mean, I showed you that graphic video, right? I'm going to end with this one here, okay? I hope that I've now given you a bit of input. Oh, wait, no, I still have some messages I want to share. Sorry. Let's see. So this was from my Instagram. Okay, let me pull up my Instagram on my laptop. Okay. And I want to share some of the messages that Iranians sent me. Okay. Where are the comments here? So I put out a call to Iranians on Instagram, asking them to, you know, send me their thoughts. Where is it? Asking them to send me their thoughts, okay? And I want to share here. So someone said, my good fellow citizen, the United States and Israel know that the Iranian nation is looking at the foreign country, right? So they're basically saying like Iranians know the difference. Okay, so here's one. So I'm in Tehran. So this account was in Tehran in the 12-day war. And he says, most people support Israel and they were happy, okay? And then I have more messages here. And then like this person says, Mardom Iran handshake. Oh my gosh. Sorry, give me 1 moment, guys. I'm so sorry. Sorry, guys. Important phone calls. I had to take that one. But so I wanted to share this. So here it says, Mardom Iran handshake Mardom Israel, which basically means people of Iran handshake people of Israel. So these are messages coming from occupied Iran, right? And then there were some messages on Twitter as well. So let me pull up Twitter, or X, I should say. Okay. So this is from my profile, right? So I posted this yesterday. So this person says, oh yeah, so thank you. There's clips on Instagram. Here we go. So this is really important. So this person, like they're writing in Farsi, right? I'm just translating this for you. So he says, please make our voices heard by the world. Every day we are getting closer to more misery. Truly, people's livelihoods are heading towards destruction. At the very least, let the truth of this society reach the ears of the world. 47 years of oppression and humiliation have been our share. And then here's another one. And she says, send a message to President Trump that we, the Iranian people, were very pleased with the bombing of Fordo and other sites. That day was considered one of the best days of our lives. Thank you from you. So these are some of the messages that Iranians want me to share with you. And what else? Here we go. Okay. Those are what I want to show for now. And then I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna leave with this message here, okay? So this was a very powerful post that someone put in their Instagram stories. And I translated it. So I wanted to share this message with you because, again, there's a nuance, right? It's not that we Iranians, we're not warmongers. We don't want war. And, you know, yes, there were civilians who were injured and who passed away because they were collateral damage, unfortunately. But the one thing I want to stress and impart to you guys is that no one in Iran blames the civilian casualties on Israel or the United States. The reality is that our murderers are the Islamic Republic, who have been oppressing us for 47 years. And we recognize that this conflict began because of the Islamic Republic. And every single individual who lost their lives, it's at the hands of Khamenei and the Islamic Republic, right? So here's the message that they said. They say, so by they, this person is talking about those jihadis and Islamists who are criticizing Iranians for being happy that Trump bombed Fordo. So this person says, they say, don't be afraid of war, be afraid of those who are happy about it, right? Like those of us who are happy with America. And then they say, don't get the wrong message. People are not happy about the war. They are happy about the death of the murderers of their children. That's the message here, guys. Iranians are happy that the United States and Israel exterminated the murderers of our children. Thank you for joining. I hope that gives you guys a little bit of input and insight into how Iranians view Americans, what Iranians actually think about President Trump, and why Iranians were happy when President Trump bombed Fordo. And if there's one final message I want to share with you, please learn the difference between Iran and the Islamic Republic. Because I'm Iranian, that's the flag of Iran, and Iran is currently occupied by a brutal Islamic dictatorship that is the enemy of the Iranian people. It's the enemy of the American people. It's the enemy of Israeli people. In fact, the Islamic Republic is the enemy of the world, and we are all fighting the same evil. And I want you guys to know that we Iranians, we're on your side, and we cannot wait until the Islamic Republic is overthrown and that we can once again go back to the relationship that we had with the United States in 1979. Iran is the only country where our past is also going to be our future. And these images here are not AI. These are real. Do you see? That's the lion and sun flag of Iran, the flag behind me. And of course, that's the flag of America. Do you see these Iranians here? This is how they greeted President Richard Nixon when he visited Iran in the 70s. Look at them waving the flag of America, cheering, happy. And look how normally they're dressed, right? Look how normally they were dressed. This is Iran. What you're seeing today is an Islamic occupation. The jihadis, and by the way, the vast majority of them are not even Iranian. They're coming from other countries. And that's why the vast majority of them in the West who were demonstrating with the no war with Iran nonsense, they weren't Iranian either. And I showed you the video of that Iranian woman who was calling them out. Right? I mean, these are Iranians. This is who we are. This is the real Iran that the Islamic Republic has been hiding from you. The Islamic Republic's strategy for 47 years was to make the world think that we did not like America. And the reason that they got away with it in the 80s and 90s and even the 2000s is because we as Iranians, we did not have access to social media. There was no internet. There was no social media. The only reason that I'm able to share this message with you today is because of the fact that I have internet, right? I mean, this isn't a fancy production. It's me in front of a desk, laptop, webcam. And I'm sharing with you images from social media. This right here, this is the worst nightmare of the Islamic Republic. They want Americans to think that we hate them because then Americans will just ignore all of the oppression and human rights violations, right? They want you to think that the problem is Iran. The problem is not Iran, you guys. The problem is the Islamic Republic. The problem is that dangerous jihadi ideology that you are now seeing infiltrating your own countries. The same way they infiltrated Iran and took over in 1979, they're now trying to do that in your countries. And the Islamic Revolution, guys, it didn't happen overnight. It took about 40 years, okay? It took 40 years for them to get to the point where they could destabilize and topple the Iranian government. So do not take these threats lightly, my friends, okay? Don't take these threats lightly. But this is the true Iran. This is the real Iran. And I can promise you that when Iran is free, we look forward to welcoming Americans back to Iran with open arms. And we are once again going to be the allies that we used to be before 1979. Thank you so much for joining, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. If you want to support my endeavors, you can also become a member. You can become part of Goldie's Gang. Goldie's Gang get additional perks. You guys get a little bit more access to the videos that I'm doing. We have a private message board where I post things and we have conversations and go back and forth. So if you want to continue, if you want me to, if you want to support my efforts to continue raising awareness and speaking out against the jihadis, you're welcome to become a member. I am going to do another live stream tonight, guys. So for those of you who don't know, I started a little mini project. So aside from my, daily live streams at 12 noon, a lot of non-Iranians have asked me to explain the 1979 Islamic Revolution, what happened, how it got there. At first, I was thinking of, making a video about it, but guys, it's so complicated, and there's already like so many documentaries out there that I decided instead of making my own. I mean, maybe I will at some point. But I decided instead of making my own, instead I'm going to watch the publicly available documentaries out there and give my thoughts as the documentary goes through, so I can point out if something's correct or if not, because there is a lot of disinformation out there. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So I started that last night, watched our first documentary. A lot of you joined me. A lot of Iranians joined as well, and they were giving their thoughts in the comments as well. And that documentary, we agreed to give it a 3 out of 10. So we're not off to a good start. There was a lot of misinformation in that documentary. It's also one of the reasons why a lot of people don't really know the truth about what happened in Iran, because unfortunately, the Islamists and communists have been spreading their propaganda unchecked for 47 years. So yeah, I have a suggestion. Someone suggested a different documentary to me, so I'm going to watch that one tonight. I'm probably going to go live maybe around 7 or 8. I don't know. But if you're subscribed to my channel, make sure you see notifications, and I will see you guys later tonight. Thank you so much for joining. And as always, Payanda Iran Javid Show.